I just watched the new Minions and Monsters movie, and I'm not gonna lie, it gave me a bit of a midlife crisis, so here are my full spoiler-free thoughts on the best and worst parts of the movie. I think we can all agree that the Despicable Me and Minions franchise is running on fumes at this point. Like, the first Despicable Me film came out 16 years ago, and I still think that is a great movie. I remember watching it as a kid, which makes me feel absolutely ancient, but I still think that is a great movie that holds up, and I feel like all the sequels to that movie and Minions, for the most part, have just been diminishing returns. They just keep getting worse. Like, Despicable Me 4 was really the straw that broke the camel's back for me, where I was like, okay, yeah, they're completely out of ideas for this franchise. Like, I know not to expect some crazy story in these movies, but it literally felt like they had no clue what they were doing. They were just randomly animating different scenes and throwing them into a film. But I actually think Minions and Monsters is a decent enough film. Now, again, I am ancient, I am a grown man, and I definitely can feel that watching these Minions films. I'm like, this is way more enjoyable if you're like 5 years old, probably. This movie is after my own heart because it is kind of about the history and love of cinema, oddly enough. Like, you follow these three new Minion characters as they kind of are there at the invention of cinema when they're still making silent films, and you kind of go through all these different classics and stuff, and then the big turning point of the movie, this isn't really a spoiler, it's just the entire plot, is the fact that the Minions obviously can't talk. So when they transition from silent films to talkies, the Minions are like, oh no, what can we do? Maybe we got to go make our own film. There are so many classic film references in this. Like, the opening credits especially have like all these classic references to like some of the earliest short films ever put to screen, which are really cool. You get like Citizen Kane and different scenes recreated, which probably means nothing to most of the kids watching this in the audience, but I do appreciate that it's in there. Maybe it's going to plant the seed in the head of one kid, and they're going to be like, oh, hey, maybe I'll check out an older movie at some point. Oh, just like all these movies though, especially the Minions films, there is really no story still. Like, the first half is pretty much the Minions being in these like history of Hollywood and becoming movie stars, and the second half is them trying to make their own movie and get a real monster to star in like a kaiju Godzilla-esque movie. Pretty much that's like the only things happening in this film, so it does just randomly feel like two different movies, kind of. I'm not gonna lie, it definitely takes way too long to actually get to the monsters part of Minions and Monsters, because once they actually get into the film, it is pretty fun. And like I said, I appreciate the stuff about film and cinema, but at a certain point you're just watching Minions walking around and they can't really talk, and I was like, okay, I'm a grown man in the theater, I'm getting sick of this. I can't find a picture of him for some reason, but Jesse Eisenberg actually voices a new character in this movie called Dort, I believe. He's just this robot that, again, is very random. It's a Minions movie, stuff is gonna be random, you just have to accept that going in. But I actually kind of like Jesse Eisenberg's voice performance in this movie. It was actually kind of a charming, interesting character, which, again, it feels so goofy to actually get into like specifics and details about a Minions movie because there's really nothing here to talk about. I think my Letterboxd review is the perfect way to sum this up. I called it Singing in the Rain for iPad Kids. I'm giving it like a 5 out of 10. It's perfectly fine and acceptable, better than the sludge we've been getting in this franchise, but still not like one of those top tier great kids movies. If you want to see more in-depth and spoiler versions of my movie reviews, go to my channel, hit the join button. For a few bucks a month, you'll get extra videos, early access to other videos, and more. I'd really appreciate it. Or if you want to just see all my other spoiler-free movie reviews in the channel, click the playlist above my head right now, and thank you so much for watching.